So, Graham, thank you so much for joining me. You called me the other day and told me a little bit about your experience with Yamoa. So, I would just love you to talk about it. Let's hear a little bit more about who you are, what it is that you've suffered from in the past, and let me know your experiences.
Thanks, Tanya. Thank you for having me and for being open to having a conversation about it, and ultimately having a product that seems to really have a bit of magic to it. I My name's Graham. I grew up in South Africa 36 years ago, and from an early age, as young as I can remember, I had severe asthma. I was prone to all sorts of illness, a consistent runny nose, always visiting the doctor, dark rings under my eyes, antibiotics, prednisone, cortisone, Flixinase, Ventolin, asthma pumps. It
Wow.
was, yeah,
Cool.
definitely my life for probably most of at least my childhood and into my teens. Um, I was allergic to gluten, wheat, dairy, cats, dogs, just
Gosh.
always sick. And my friends always used to, know me as not really a sick boy, but I always was sick. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Um, so I got into products like I said, Ventolin nebulizers were always at hand. My parents are both asthmatic. I got into a tablet called Singulair when I moved to Australia, what was now 13 years ago. That helped. And I think
Mm.
the climate in Australia also helped, but my asthma it wasn't managed, and it didn't certainly hadn't been suppressed slash
Mm.
disappeared. Um, and so there was always something in the back of my mind wanting to improve. And I didn't ever believe that there was a cure for asthma, because I don't think that anybody knows or believes that, especially in Western medicine or mainstream doctors, let's say. So the run up to Yamoa for me was a lot of I was doing a lot of work on myself, breath work, cold water immersion, a change of diet, stopping drinking alcohol, exercising fairly regularly, 3-4 times a week. I'm now quite into running, but it seemed like Yamoa um has definitely been kind of the final nail in the coffin, as it were, for my respiratory illness, and or illnesses,
Mm.
because just quite recently, I mean, we are now mid July. I was sick a couple of weeks ago because I hadn't slept. I went for a swim in the North Atlantic in Galway, then did a
Mm.
10K run and got sick. But two things happened. One, I'd had I had an infection of sorts. Definitely, there was lovely colored phlegm being coughed up, excuse the detail, but it was
Mm.
definitely in my lungs. But I had started to wean myself. When I say wean off, I didn't take antibiotics, but more
Mm.
importantly, I'd been through 2 months of Yamoa, which I'd ended maybe 6 weeks 2 months prior to getting sick. But the infection didn't affect my lungs for the
Right.
first time ever. I
Ever.
didn't wheeze and I wasn't short of breath, but I was definitely infected and it was definitely in my respiratory system, but I didn't have those asthma-like symptoms. I did reach for my asthma pump out of habit
Yeah.
uh, 4 times in 3 weeks, but that's because I could feel I wasn't tight chested, but it's a very, like I said, very much a habitual thing to kind of, oh, let me just do this just in case, but largely didn't need to, I don't feel, in hindsight. But
Mm.
it wasn't in the illness wasn't in my lungs. I didn't have asthma. And since Yamoa, which is now probably, is it maybe 3 months, 3 months? I must check when I made that order, but I haven't had any since then. um,
That's yeah.
yeah, there's a bit of a summary for you, I
Yeah.
suppose.
So, I mean, to me, it's not news in that I know
Mm,
what this can do. I've been doing this for 24 years now.
mm,
but every story is unique. You know, everybody has their you know, their individual journey that they've come to it from, and you've obviously had an historic life of real struggle and a reliance on a lot of medications. So for you, I mean, how did you originally hear about it? Do you recall?
I do recall. My work colleagues and I often chat about, well, different types of medicine. We were just chatting about respiratory health. I was telling them about Wim Hof breathing and the cold water kind of immersion I've been doing and benefits I've seen. And Louis, my colleague, sent me a copy of a TikTok, or he sent me a TikTok with someone on TikTok speaking about Yamoa. This is a cure, this will cure your asthma type thing, in a somewhat claim, or information rather, and then Googled Yamoa powder, I believe, because I'm obviously I'm in the UK. Up came not the norm, and then got hold of you that way. So it was through a TikTok video indirectly that I'd heard about Yamoa. I hadn't heard about it. And to be fair, I hadn't even searched for it. I just came across it through word of mouth.
Yeah. So what persuaded you to give it a go, given that your sort of mindset was originally that essentially there's nothing that can be done, I just have to rely on these medicines, you know, I haven't had, there's, you know, there's no known cure. It might help, you know, being healthier might generally help it, but what persuaded you to go, because a lot of people find out about it. I mean, there was one chap that I sort of reread about the other day called Adam, who had heard about it 7 years before he actually decided to take it, and he'd tried so many things in the past that he was so disappointed that he just didn't take it. Wow. And then eventually he just thought, oh, sod it, I'll take it, because his friend said, look, have you tried that stuff yet? And he just decided, bit the bullet, but with absolute skepticism, absolutely no concept of it ever actually helping him. And after a month, he was astounded, you know. Wow. So, and he regretted never not taking it for those 7 years, because he'd had a really tough time, you know. Sure. So yeah, a lot of people just, they're very reluctant to give it a go.
For me, I've been on I want to say a self-healing journey for the last 3 years. I think kind of working to why it was an easy decision for me to take Yamoa, because 3 years ago for me it was I had to get into it. I had to get into looking for a way out of having a respiratory illness. So like I said, 3 years ago, I ummed and ahed about starting Wim Hof breathing. Then I got into it, got into cold water, got into adaptogens, adaptogenics, you know, your lion's manes and mushrooms and what have you, and started finding a whole new world of self-help and self-healing for health. And so when something, and as such was also, you know, looking for looking for and open to new products, such that when, like I said, Louis he flicked me over a TikTok or something, and I saw it. It wasn't even there was no hesitancy for me to at least find out a bit more, and see. But the fact that you don't have a monthly subscription, you've got plenty testimonials, track record. You gave me a call the next day after I inquired. There was nothing to hide. Made it very clear that there's definitely or possibly something here that's genuine. You know, it's not an MLM scheme. There's nothing behind the scenes. It's just, this is it. Take it for 2 months. It will more than likely work.
Try it, give it a go. Cool. You don't know until it works, until you try it. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame, because I think a lot of people do have to come to that, come to the decision to take control of their own health, and that is something that a lot of people you know, in my experience, they're very reluctant to do, because they've never been handheld through that journey of actually taking. It's a very much an isolated journey. Your doctor's not going to help you take control of your own health, you know.
No.
And parents might be very reluctant to allow children to do the same, or, you know, young adults to do the same, because they're afraid, you know, particularly when you've got a condition like asthma.
Yeah.
So, you know, they rely on the things that they're told, this will, you know, this will keep your lifestyle in such a way. If you have these drugs and you have this medication, you'll be okay. You know, you can manage your disease. It's fine. And I think people really do have to come to that mindset, to the point where I actually say to people, when they say, oh, I'm going to buy it for my colleague, or I'm going to buy it for my friend, or I'm going to buy it for my, you know, or aunt or whatever, I just say, no, don't buy it for them. Just give them the information, because you're banging your head against a brick wall. You know about it. You have faith in it. You know, you believe what you read about it and what you hear and what you see about it. But they haven't had that journey yet. They haven't come to it in the same way that you have. And if you just thrust it upon them, say, here's a gift, they're far less likely to take it. And I've had that countless times where people have gone, I've bought it for so-and-so, and they're just not taking it. And I'm like, you know, there's nothing you can do. You just give them the information. They have to want to be able to willingly take it themselves.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that is, you know, you can lead a horse to water.
Well, no, that's exactly it. So I've sent my parents a shipment in the post, as you know, and they're asthmatic. They take an inhaler every day. They've got 3 lovely little dogs. The climate where they live in South Africa is maybe not even suitable for them, but they love living there. But it's hard to tell for climate. There's other factors at play. They are very keen to take Yamoa when they get back from their holiday in the game reserve, which they're there at the moment. But they are on it. They do look after their health, and they are open to the idea. And because I've been on they know my journey over the last 2-3 years.
And they trust you, you know.
Yeah, so it's that inherent it's inherent trust, you're right. And also when the time is right, people will make a decision. You'd like to think, like you said, the gentleman waited 7 years. That's just what it is, you know. It's hard to, it's impossible to change someone's mind. They have to almost change their feeling about something, I suppose.
I think that's very much the case. So it's interesting, isn't it? The psychology behind people being willing to help themselves. And, you know, if 10 years ago you'd come across it, you may have been a lot less, you know, keen to try it. But let's talk about some of the other things that you did that have got you into a much sort of healthier state. So the Wim Hof, that's a like submerging yourself. Submerging, is that right? It's late. It's been a long day. My brain's not working properly. But yeah, you've been submerging yourself in very cold water, isn't it? Usually ice water in a tub or something.
Yes, so there's 2 parts to Wim Hof breathing. And so I've taken up Wim Hof breathing, cold water immersion. So yes, submersion, I suppose, is part of that. But immersion, but also nose breathing is something I've got into. I read a book called The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McEwen, who's an Irish gentleman who's been studying nose breathing, and the importance of it. But I got on that the Wim Hof journey, or early COVID, funnily enough. I've been told about it under NARD, and a few courses were going around on Instagram of the breath guy and people doing these breath classes. And once I started doing it, first of all, it felt really good. And you get, depending on how far you get into it, but it tends to be quite progressive. You get these lovely tingling sensations. You go through periods of being able to hold your breath for longer and longer periods of time. you feel good, you get kind of blood shooting around your body. Bearing in mind, I could initially hold my breath for probably a minute and a half after
Right.
doing 2 or 3 rounds. I can now hold my breath for 5 minutes.
Oh,
Uh,
that is
two and
phenomenal.
a half years later, yeah, I've got it on the app because there's
Yeah.
an app, half app, and it's very good, decent pricing. It's I think £40 for a year, and
Right.
you know, it holds you accountable. Then you start and stop the timer every time you're going through rounds of breathing. Um, so that's now a constant, largely a constant. I definitely went through a year of not really missing a day. I'd probably do 5, 6 days a week. And from there, depending on whether I was in South Africa or the UK, some of the guys I used to hang out with in Durban are kind of the surfing community. They do Wim Hof breathing such for underwater holds, and they do cold water immersion because it's very good for you. They kind of go hand in hand. So I'd either be doing ice baths there, or in winter in the UK, have a little timer in the shower in the morning. You're pressing 3, 5 minutes, turning the cold tap on and getting in.
Mhm.
Um, and it takes a bit of time, but you can definitely feel the advantages immediately with the breath work, and a couple of weeks, months with cold water immersion, such that, and that what is it is the, my understanding of how Wim Hof works and also how nose breathing works is the relationship between carbon dioxide and oxygen in your system.
Right.
So when you hold your breath, often you want to breathe in again or breathe out, then breathe in, because you've got a low tolerance of carbon dioxide in your
Mm.
system. Humans generally have a low CO2 ceiling.
Mm.
So the more you start pushing the ceiling by holding your breath and making an effort to kind of stay there and push it a bit, your tolerance of carbon dioxide starts going up. And it's also very much happens through nose breathing, through the three kind of chambers it goes through. The pressure, it affects the pressure the air enters your lungs at, as well as the temperature. And snoring, sleep apnea, sighing are
Mm.
largely results of a low tolerance to CO2. So once you
And
can stop
mouth breathing.
increasing, say again,
Mouth breathing.
mouth breathing, exactly, very unhealthy. And basically, when you hold your breath and start nose breathing, your CO2 tolerance goes up. You'll stop snoring, sleep apnea, be able to have better oxygen actual distribution through your body, because um, I think it's a nitric acid, as a result of the CO2 buildup, helps distribute oxygen in your bloodstream. It's like having a room full of basketballs or soccer balls or tennis balls or golf balls or
Right.
marbles. You know, the volume's the same, but the distribution's better, of oxygen in this
Right.
case.
Stop you there. We've got like 24 seconds. So,
I've got 9 minutes, 24 seconds.
oh my God, this is me not wearing contact lenses. Right. Shush, just.
We've got some more time. That's been the journey, and once you get into kind of one of these worlds, wherever you go in, there's
Yeah.
a whole world behind the curtain of people doing all sorts of these types of health optimization. Let's call them biohacks or growth hacks. I mean,
Mm.
running to heart rate is something I wasn't aware of. I used to just run 10 kilometers and see how fast you could go, and you get back tired. But there's a lot of science now coming out to say, and has been for a while, you need to run at a comfortable 80% of your exercise needs to be at talking level in a
Right.
comfortable heart rate. And then you push 20% of the time. And also, it's all these things you come across when you get into this health,
Start
health,
journey.
it's part of the
Yeah.
journey. But the scary thing is that it's liberating, starting to take care of your own health, but it's also scary because no one's there to do it for you. And
Mm.
I very much know and understand and have a lot of respect for the West, for Western medicine, if you like, because it's definitely saved my life before. That being said, I don't have to live on it my whole life. And
Mm.
funnily enough, I'll just quickly mention, when I went to the Lung Institute in London, at London Bridge. I went twice when I was still living in London, and they measured my lung inflammation on a you kind of blow out into a device that measures resistance or something, I'd imagine. And I was basically on 0 to this scale of inflamed. I was like, yeah. And
Wow.
twice I went back, but at the time I wasn't doing any form of health work, breath work on myself, drinking a lot, smoking, probably bad diet, all sorts. I haven't gone back to check because that is 3-4 years ago. But the nurse in the room, I said to her, with all due respect, and to you and your profession and the doctors, I don't want to live on medicine for the rest of my life.
Mm.
And she said, all you have to do is take this brown pump in the morning, twice, 2 puffs will be fine. I said, I really appreciate what you're saying, but I don't want to live in medicine for the rest of my life. All you have to do is take this brown asthma pump twice every morning. And there was a disconnect of what I was trying to say to her and what she knew to say back.
Yeah,
And I
she
just
had no answers for you because she's never gone
never
beyond
done
that
it.
solution. Yeah.
And then I was just like, I can't. I've done this my whole life. I can't continue to live on meds. So I suppose when you're ready and you're looking for something, it'll make itself known in some level. But yeah, that's been the journey, and I'm always looking for new and Yamoa, but in this case, Yamoa has been, and I said to Louis this afternoon, it's probably like a 1.5 billion, 1 in a billion product. You can find
That I
products.
know of out there that can do what it does, for the simple reason
Hmm.
that for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, they don't need to continue taking it. And that's the beauty
Yes.
of it. You suck it and see, you may not ever need it again. And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, that is the case. Sadly, we do get the occasional person for whom it just doesn't work.
Hmm.
What I usually say is like 2 months, give it a go, see what happens. After those 2 months, if absolutely nothing has changed for the better, then
Hmm.
it's probably not going to help you. So it's probably not worth spending more money on.
Hmm.
And then, but if it has benefited you to a degree, whether it's mildly or a marked improvement, it's worth pursuing for
Yes.
a little bit longer. Let's see where it gets you. And some people might need to continue taking it throughout, but that's rare. And some people take it throughout, take it all the time, monthly. They do get a subscription, they do take it monthly because they don't ever want to be without it. They don't ever want to go back to where they were. And often I say, so where are you at? Have you tried not using it? Because if you try not using it, you may find that you don't actually use it. You
Yeah.
don't need it.
Right.
But it's that sort of, they've been in such a bad place, and this
Yeah.
is in, they're now in such a good place. Why would they want to go back? So let's just keep doing what I'm doing, which is working.
Fair enough.
But so this is why with subscriptions we give a big discount and stuff, so it just makes it easier if you do want to keep taking it. But it's not, some people just, it didn't work. I had a lady the other day who asked to cancel her subscription because she'd done it for 9 months and it just not got her anywhere. And it's a shame, but it does show. And she's left a review on Trustpilot. It's just a 1-star review. And I've just responded and I said, well, thank you for giving it a go. And at least we've got an example. I'm very sorry. I hope you find something that will help you, but at least got an example of where something hasn't worked for some people. So it puts it into perspective, because some people it will work and others it won't. And it's a shame that we can't find why it doesn't work for some people. That would be nice if we could understand some people that it didn't work. But yeah, it's those kind of studies, they're just way beyond our ability financially to do. But, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that is I suppose that could be the case for anything really, that it's not going to work on nothing. Not everything will work on everyone. So that's probably
One
just
man's meat is another man's poison, etc. And
yeah. But personally, like I said, I think I'm 2-3 months post Yamoa. I've been sick. It hasn't gone to my chest. I'm not short of breath. Asthma's gone. I need to give it more time. you know. But
Where we're at in a few months. Did you ever find that winter provoked things, especially in this country? Did you find that the sort of dampness and the leaf mold and things like that, would that ever trigger you? Because we're
yes,
coming to that in the next few months. It'd be interesting to see how you fare.
yes, definitely. Temperate or temperature, location. I was living in Vauxhall in London, which is very
Yeah,
polluted.
yeah.
So, like I said, with more time and possibly a Yamoa top up. I mean, I don't exactly know what's the physiology that's changed in my body for it, that if it can kind of go either way, back or stay the same.
Mm,
Um, but we'll see. We'll see in time with the winter.
mm.
But I've definitely felt very, very good benefits from it thus far.
Excellent. I'm really thrilled that you got in touch, because, so rare that I actually get a chance to see somebody, let alone speak to them.
Mhm.
And I have sent emails out to people saying, do you want to talk to me? Give me a call. I used
That's
to do
lovely.
one-to-one treatments as a practitioner, and now I'm in an office, and I send products out to people all over the world, and I don't always get a chance to
Oh,
connect with them. So this is the kind of opportunity where I can, and yeah, I'm just really grateful for you to come on, because
likewise.
people see that you're genuine, and see hopefully that I'm genuine, and that what I
Mm,
say about the product is what it is.
mm,
Um,
mm,
this will inspire somebody to give it a go, and maybe also try your other techniques that you've been using, because just for general health benefits, I don't think we ever really should use hot water to wash in and do things. We didn't evolve in that way. We evolved with cold water. So it's very much
yes.
something returning to origins, as it were, of human
Mm.
nature.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Well, that's part of the Wim Hof method, is exactly that: air conditioning, heating, everything's very comfortable and such that our bodies lose um, their mechanisms in fixing oneself, and getting yourself back to its own equilibrium. It's all kind of done for you. So yes, we should all be having cold showers all the time.